And gentlemen, boys and girls, here we go. Game number 3 coming at us here, our final game. The winner of this will go to the finals here of our ZOTAC Cup Masters Southeast Asian qualifiers. Mineski versus Clutch Gamers. So excited to be here once again. Been a great series so far. I'm CPK, joined by PQMZ. Again, so seeing which team will move on and which team will have to try in the second set of qualifiers. Set to take place here soon. But yet again, somewhat of a different start of the draft. I mean, usually in these best-of-3 series, we have some similarities between each game as far as the initial picks. We're having different picks every single game, and not that I'm complaining, but I find that very interesting. A Slaughter into a Dazzle Sand King so far.
Well, I think half the reason this game is Slaughter was banned in the previous 2 games. It slipped through this time because Clutch opted to kind of do a throwaway ban with the Venom, which is still a hero that Mushi goes to quite often, but it's not necessarily the best first stage option. So that sneaks through. The Dazzle's a reactionary hero. You want the armor to be able to deal with the Slaughter. It's also, it feels like Mineski are steroiding their cores a lot.
5 seconds remaining.
They want less active supports and more like keep me alive kind of style. It worked for them in the first game. It nearly worked for them in the second. I think if they just had a hero that wasn't Slark, they would have had a much better chance.
Well, they're going to go.
But they did pick Dazzle into Axe, so I don't know. I like what Clutch have. They have a much stronger overall opening.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Dazzle happened before the Axe came out, so. They have the Axe response, even more reason why Clutch was perhaps liking that option this time around. So again, the first 8 games in the hands of Mineski, but this time going to be for Clutch. See how they run it here as the bans now to follow. Got the Life Stealer into a Terror Blade so far. So Monkey King has not seen attention this series, of course, being prime banned all 3 games. Another hero, though, one of the newer ones, in fact, the newest in the Captain's mode at least, Treant Protector. We've been seeing bits and pieces, and I believe we should expect to see him quite a bit at the upcoming Kiev Major as well. But hasn't been seen at all in this series. I don't know if Southeast Asia just hasn't really picked up on the hero yet, but what do you think about Treant Protector?
I think it's really, really annoying to play against, and the amount of pressure you can put in the lanes is better than most heroes. But I'm not really sure why the SEA scene hasn't picked up on the hero. It feels like they prefer the more either defensive options with like the Dazzles and sometimes even Oracle, or the heroes that have better initiation options like Slider, Sand King. Because Treant is a lot more laning based for its pressure. It's not really an initiator, so maybe it just doesn't fit the role they want as a 4th position. But I definitely agree with you. We'll see it at Kiev.
Yeah.
It will either fall flat on its face or it will do really, really well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's not like a snowbally hero or one that can take over games by any means. But like you said, he's kind of just one of those annoying heroes to play against, if anything. So we'll see kind of how he shows there. But yeah, for this series at least, he's had 0 impact as no bans or even picks, of course. So Ursa, though, going to be the 3rd pick for Mineski this time around.
10 seconds remaining.
Interesting Ursa pick time in here. They going up against Slaughter Axe, and you think it makes sense?
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I think it's a really good hero to have in this kind of game. 1, it's one of the better melee heroes at dealing with Axe in the laning stage. 2, it's an active safe lane hero. As opposed to the Slack they had last game, it's going to have way more impact, you'd hope. If it doesn't, something's gone massively wrong. And Mushi seems to shine on the more carry-based mids. So we can hope to see him go towards one of those.
Shadow Shaman. Now this is a hero that is considered on the lower tier list, I guess you could say, as far as heroes and their potential in games. Now he did have some changes recently, from not only his attack range change to the base damage to the talent trees kind of being buffed in certain places too. But it still feels like the hero overall is kind of still working its way up in the tier list. What do you think is the reason for it here on Clutch Gamers?
It's a hero they've run quite a few times recently. I think it's a high impact support. The this game they've got 2 initiators to give it space in team fights. It's probably going to be the 5 out of the 2 supports, but if you can make space for the hero, then it's one of the better disablers. And the fact you can push towers with it as well, just... I don't know, I think this hero is really underrated right now. It's just harder to play than most supports, because positioning is so key.
Yeah.
If you don't get... Your Hex is just such a bad spell if you're leveling up the other ones, so you rely a lot on your team making space for you. Which when teams pick heroes like this, and they have like Sand King or ZOTAC, they get in your face very easily, and the hero's quite exploitable for that. But you can say the same about nearly every ranged support hero in the game.
Yeah. The fact though that that channel, I think, is the biggest thing though. It's like that's what I think is so deceptive about Shadow Shaman. I love this hero. I've always loved this hero, but on paper it reads like, okay, yeah, he has 2 really strong crowd control, and he's got a decent nuke, and he can push towers with his Serpent Wards. But in reality, in practice, he's going to be an under-leveled support a lot of the times. That's not going to have item farm. That's going to be under-leveled and that means, you know, these crowd control abilities are going to be nerfed to an extent. On top of his mana pool is going to be nerfed because of the lack of items, and he needs a lot of mana to chain his abilities to top it all off. So it can be deceptive, I think, when it comes to thinking that this hero has potential. But we'll see if Clutch Gamers is able to make it work here. With all
I really hope they are. Because look, I agree with every point you make about the hero, but in practice, pro players have a way to just ignore every downside you just listed and make the hero work. Like, when you see, do you remember, I don't think you were casting back then for Dodo at least, but the Vega Squadron team with like Solo on it?
No, can't say I recall.
It's a shame. Like, he was one of the better Shadow Shaman players, and he made the hero look extremely scary game to game. I think with how Clutch have been running it in the past, they've done like this really active safe lane hero that is either going to make space on the map or space in team fights for the hero. And currently with the 4 heroes they have, like, you don't really have the time to focus a Shadow Shaman here. Like, if you can catch him in a stun from Sand King as a collateral, that's great, but the rest of your heroes have more important things to focus on, which is going to create an awkward situation for them, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ursa does not like to be kited. Like, there's a lot of stuns this game, and Astral is so annoying.
Yeah, having that saving tool in the Astral is going to be big here, so that OD 4th pick definitely going to be looking pretty strong, and now they're looking for their 1 option, you figure, as their final pick here, and they go with a pretty sound pick with the Juggernaut.
Yeah, super standard.
Speaking of
just gives them a way to deal with the high pressure off lane from Adaxia, if that's what Mineski want to do. You always have to respect it, even if they don't decide to go through with it in the first place.
10 seconds remaining.
So Mineski now looking, so you're suspecting perhaps the Mushi Ursa, so with that said, probably need that 1 position then with their final pick as well.
I mean, they could do that, actually. I was presuming Raging Potato would play it.
Oh, okay.
Did I say something stupid?
No, I think you might have mentioned the idea that possibly Mushi could be on the Ursa too in the mid, but
no. Well, what I meant was Ursa's a hero that like enables Mushi to play these more farm-based mid heroes.
Okay.
So I don't think Shadow Fiend or something is a good option here, but something along those lines. You know, a carry from the mid lane, and Sniper's one of the better ones at dealing with OD through the lane. There's a lot of ways to make space for him in team fights. I'd say it's a really nice way to round out their lineup, but I've got a favorite Clutch on this one. I hope the Rasta comes through, though. I really want to see the hero work.
I do too.
But Mineski have the snowball factor, I think. Their cores play at a much faster pace, and if Clutch get off to a bad start, then they kind of have 2 heroes that rely on Blink Dagger and a support that very much relies on them also having Blink and him having levels. If that doesn't happen, they can lose the game very quickly. Kind of similar to Game 1 almost. If their lanes go horribly, you can expect the same kind of snowball.
Hey, I'm with you. I would love to see the Shadow Shaman work. So far, though, the couple of times that I've seen him picked up with all these changes recently, it feels like it's kind of flopped here. So perhaps going to be different for Clutch gamers. That's what they're hoping for as well. But we'll see. We'll see as far as how things come together for their lineups here. The idea of kiting the Ursa is going to be important. It is indeed being played by Raging Potato there. So Mushi ends up on the sniper, of course. And as that matchup against the OD, as you're mentioning, a very good matchup for him. And yeah, really just a nice, solid last pick. Almost a little surprised that that wasn't banned, but they banned the Lina instead. So I guess that too could have been pretty scary to give up right here. So
it's definitely been his go-to, so I'm not surprised they banned that out instead. There was a decent amount of options like Sniper, TA. Shadow Fiend was still in the pool, but I don't think it was as good of an option.
We get the very early wards here on the Dire side. One in the middle lane area, and then one more in the rune spot at the bottom lane down here. So somewhat close wards, but going to have a lot of vision along this river area, that's for sure. Seeing any rotations coming out.
Yeah, they want to be able to find where the supports are going, so if they're running bottom, then the Sand King can either go elsewhere to neutralize their movements, or if they're not there, then put a lot of pressure on the Jug with the Dietzer. This is one of the better dual lanes, I think. Are they going to do a lane swap again?
They're grouping up here.
I wouldn't be surprised, actually.
It looks like
this is the luxury of having the early vision.
Yeah.
You can pick and choose your lanes.
Yeah, they're going to swap things out. Even the Ion Shell going on to Darks here, or onto Ursa, excuse me. I don't know if it's actually going to last long enough to be effective, but I guess just in case they maybe got involved in a fight right there. But he is going to end up at the bottom lane. It is going to be an aggressive tri-lane going up against the whole Rasta, Slardar, and Juggernaut here on the other side. So is there...
I actually don't know if this is good for Mineski.
Okay.
Like, I can see it working out for both sides. I think 90% of it is going to come down to how well the Rasta can position himself. Because he is a super strong hero. He has like 70 base damage, and they have one stun. If they use that to initiate, he can get the shackles off, and then you kind of have to focus the hero and kill him. The one big upside to this lane, though, is they can always push the lane in with Dazzle, and then they can do this pull that he's doing at the moment, and this will make the lane a lot easier for them to contest. I think that's the main upside to this aggro lane. And obviously the fact that you don't have the heroes roaming on your sniper as easily.
Trying to lock down the farm of Juggernaut is going to be a mission here, no doubt, so keep an eye on that CS here. How it looks, especially compared to the Ursa, as you see some contesting going on for the jungle camp, meanwhile. Seeing a couple of supporting casts there, so yeah, going to be interesting to see how this one plays out at the bottom lane, Tri versus Tri lane, but we got the matchup middle, Mushi versus Armel, OD versus Sniper. Again, it seems like Mushi should be in a pretty good spot for winning this lane. Now, early on, OD 6-5, Sniper 3-3, so OD managing pretty well in the early game, but that's without Shrapnel yet.
Yeah, it gets a bit easier when Sniper gets his levels, for sure.
And then top lane, what is it? It's the Axe versus the Darks here, that's right. That's an interesting matchup right there, because obviously Axe is not liking the Ion Shells, I'm sure. But at the same time, spins could work.
I'll take your tribute.
It's a very awkward lane for Axe to play. Forces you to play the hero in a different way. And normally what you want to be doing with this hero is pushing the lane in and then pulling the camps with like a one-on-one matchup. But Darks is one doing that to you.
Bottom lane. Actually picking up right here. Somebody's going to die. Who's going to be first? It's going to be the Rasta. Gets run down. The Fury swipes that up. Nothing they can do. Ninja Boogie. No Shallow Grave, though. So he's actually going to end up getting spun down right there. But the chase continues. Another Earth Shot comes out. Actually, they catch Juggernaut. That'd be a big kill for them to have, and they're going to get it with the final auto attack from Sand King, actually. So there's the issue now for Clutch. They come out on the losing end there. 1 for 2, including losing Juggernaut to top it off.
Yeah, Mineski just having like much better control of the lane, and then finding the Rasta as like their initial target, so he can't used his spells effectively, kind of neutralizing the hero, making him feel like a ranged creep.
That's the biggest issue. You know, the idea, again, goes back to the on paper. The Shackle's a great tool. I mean, for level 1, 2.75 seconds, but if he's unable to channel it, then it basically makes it pointless, and it's all right there. Having trouble if he gets initiated on. Kind of changes the pace of the fight, so.
It only gets harder now because they have boots, you don't. These pulls are like a lot harder to contest as well, now that they have that initial item advantage. And now the Slatter's probably doing the right thing and saying, yeah, this lane sucks, I'm going to go elsewhere. OD's got his boots now, so if they can manage to get an Astral in the mid lane, that's a kill potential. I don't think they can do anything top that.
You got Darkseer kind of falling back, going to go back into the lane now, but again, continues to push it up with those Ion Shells here. Axel seems like he's been able to manage just fine against it for the most part, but as I say that, I mean, Darkseer 22-3, Axe is 9-2, yeah.
I mean, with an Iron Talon, you shouldn't be missing the CS under the tower.
That's true.
Maybe he's getting really unlucky with his spins. Like, it sucks, but sometimes that's the case.
But yeah, Darkseer is really dominating that matchup. And how about the middle matchup, too, actually? OD's managing pretty well himself. 18-10 against a 16-6 sniper so far in the middle lane.
Looking pretty standard. And now the map's opening up a bit more. You can't really play as aggressively as you'd like with the OD to like go up and Astral him because you're scared of where the supports could be. Especially as you know your Slatter's top right now.
Armel's obviously sees the Sand King. He's playing this very defensive here. As a result, so he'll be fine, but again, preventing some of that CS, and this is where Sniper will start moving on up in that CS chart. Juggernaut, he's doing all right, 17-1, but of course that death early on, and he's not able to play too aggressive at this timing here. So he's going to have to give up.
I don't think he can even lane anymore. Like, Ursa has face boots. Every time he goes up to the creeps, he's going to get hit once or twice, and he's just kind of here for the experience. Maybe if they can get the pulls going, he can CS under the tower, because Mineski probably don't dive him. But, I don't know, this is not easy for him.
Well, they find the roster right here. However, there goes the Shackle, so full duration really coming out. The crush on top of that, but down goes the roster. But now what cost for Raging Potato? It looks like not going to be at anything, because he just limps away there. The support from Dazzle was enough. And well played. So yeah, the damage output just really isn't enough just yet for Clutch Gamers to be getting the turn kills like that. That on top of the face boots, as you mentioned. He makes it away, and the magic stick to help burst himself alive. In fact, Juggernaut now in a bad spot. He doesn't have a spin. They know this, and they're going to take him out. They see him off to the side, and Gabby just simply caught out of position without his spin on top of that. I guess that wouldn't have even mattered, though, at that point. A lot of physical damage.
He needed the ability to not be there.
In hindsight, yes, that would have been the good choice.
Nothing else was going to save him there, so Mineski are getting off to the kind of start the Clutch couldn't afford to let them have.
Top lane, kill Darkseer, that'd be a good kill, but is it enough damage? The Vacuum Surge, not in time. Nice play by Rappy there to cut him down with a Colding Blade at least, so.
That salvages the lane slightly for him. And now he has more net worth. He's at a point where he's actually got kind of everything to build up and just rush for Blink in like 2 minutes now if he gets a bit of time alone in the jungle. And I think this is going to be the most important hero for them to start some fights. If he can pick and choose the right initiations with his Blink, then his team can come back from a pretty bad laning stage. No matter how bad your lanes go, there's always some room to like change his fate. It's nowhere near as lethal as it used to be around like Tier 4 time, where the lanes were like everything after a point.
Yeah. If
you lost them that hard, you kind of just subsequently lost the game. I think half of that's due to players getting better as well.
Oh, for
overall.
Sure. Long you play the game.
This lane spot's helping them out a lot now.
Yeah, you got Gabby
go to the jungle,
making up some room here. Slaughter getting some solo experience at the bottom lane with those Tranquil Boots. Meanwhile, Ursa, though, he has 1,500 gold saved up, so what's the choice here? Is it just going to be straight into the Blink Dagger, you think, right away for the Ursa?
Personally, I really like Helm, but
I've not seen that item in forever, man.
You normally only see it on heroes that benefit from the Roche potential from it, but if you get Helm, you get the Aegis, you normally play without a blink, especially when you have a Darkseer. To initiate, or I'll give you the Surge to help you initiate, and then Sand King, also Stun, etc. It just helps you A, farm quicker, and B, not rely on fighting as much. But if he wants to go blink, it makes a lot of sense because his team can play very aggressively around the same time. The Darkseer is going to enable him to do a lot more damage as well. So if they want to play for the earlier window, the blink makes sense. And with how little say Clutch has until Axe gets his blink, it makes me think blink is the correct decision for him. Because they're probably under the impression they're winning this game pretty hard right now. If you look at the network, it's actually really even. But they probably think they're a lot further ahead just based on how the lanes went.
Yeah, I mean, overall,
so it might actually bite them in the ass.
The chart's definitely suggesting this is a pretty even game, and you're right. They're going to run in right here to the Axe, but they're going to collapse on themselves. Berserker's Call hits first. He does have that Pearl Strike. Going to be put under, though, by the OD. The Shackles on a Darkseer locking him down. He has a vacuum, maybe. Try to get away with the Surge. That's not going to work. He vacuums, really doesn't do anything. He goes down. At least Sand King gets away. The Shrapnel's doing plenty of damage from a distance, but Mushi can't finish anyone off, so, yeah, they kind of run into a trap right there. End up throwing themselves at them for some turn kills. And Axe actually, I mean, he's top net worth on his team, second in the game. This is an Axe that really was struggling in the beginning here. It's a Darkseer.
Yeah, he picked it up a lot in the last, 6 minutes. After getting that kill and then stacking the few jungle camps, getting good movement between those and the lane. And now the game's almost even after Mineski kind of overplaying the mid lane. Ursa has his blink, so maybe they can look for a more favorable engagement than the one they just took.
Bottom lane. Sand King, he's already setting up down here. He has some rotations coming over. Ursa with that Blink Dagger.
They see this with the ward.
Yeah, going to be spotted out, actually. You're right. So not going to be able to get there in time, and Axe will pour it out before any kind of catch happens. So good reaction from his part. Maybe going to try to push this bottom tower now. With Darkseer being here, of course. As even the vacuum committed to push out the creep lane there. Top lane, Ursa ports in, though. He's going to be jumping in. However, the nice blink reaction by Axe actually coming out. So he has his own Blink Dagger and makes use of it to survive right there as well. So Ursa's trying to find kills, but he can't.
And this is why the blink first is not always ideal. It just relies so much on you finding something. It's as you always used to say in Hon, like, you know, you don't buy a blink to farm. You want to go find hero kills, and now it's at a point where because he hasn't found anything, he's not in a position to just like sit in the Roche pit and kill it on his own. Doesn't look so good.
Sniper, middle lane, the Axe initiation, easy kill on him with that blink, and the Serpent Ward trap on top of that will catch the Dazzle and transition nicely into a tower push middle lane here. So, well, that's definitely a power. Frosta showing off a bit.
Yeah, this is why the Axe getting the blink was so important for them. Without that ability to punish Mineski for misstepping, they don't get to make this play. And now they are definitely ahead. Like, Ursa's net worth isn't really scary because he's dumped half of it into a blink. And he isn't able to use that yet. And sure, you'd rather have an item than what Jug has, but yeah. They just able to play at like stage of the game. I feel Mineski should be dominating. It's really weird, like this entire series. Maybe I'm just not understanding SEA Dota or just Dota in general, but every time I'm starting to favor a team, it goes completely the other way.
Yeah, there's been a lot of swings in this series. I do agree there, and this bottom lane, I mean, there's no way they're getting that kill because, yeah, the crush happens and he just
Radiant's
kind of walks
bottom
away.
tower
So
is under attack.
it's a good reaction from Slaughter, but it just, again, it doesn't seem like they were setting up to actually truly get the kill right there. I guess maybe an assassinate from Sniper would have been a nice follow-up, but wasn't really in the best position to do so. Instead, they'll push this bottom tower. It's going to be delayed a little bit because of the fortification, but eventually going to get a top tower, however, being counter-pushed by Juggernaut. And he's going to even pull the creep wave into the neutral camp right here to try to secure that. Darkseer, though, he's nearby. He has his wall ready.
They've got the wards though, so they're going to feel really safe fighting around this tower.
They're going to go in for the kill, actually. Omni Slash committed. Can they actually do enough damage to kill Darkseer? They can. The Culling Blade eventually secures the kill. So I was worried that he's going to be able to surge away, but no, the Culling Blade prevents that. And there's the top tower push. So yeah, that ward doing a lot of work too. Clutch Gamers, man, they're just really looking good. And now they're trying to Roshan with the double damage, but OD's going to spot this. Maybe? Yeah, he spots it.
He definitely knows. He just doesn't want to go in before his team's in range. And now X can...
Oh, Ursa jumps in first onto the roster right there, but now he's going to be in trouble. Gets locked up with the Berserker's Call. Roster gets killed with the Culling Blade to finish off the Ursa. However, Axe will end up getting turned, but now Sniper on the run. Odie puts him under the spin on top of that from Juggernaut. Buyback, by the way, from Ursa. A very early buyback here, but it will prevent them from committing further as they pop the Shrine to heal on up. But man, that is a really early buyback from Raging Potato.
I don't blame him for doing it, but they need this rush so badly, but I'm not sure they can get it.
Yeah.
The Serpent Wards are just giving the vision. It's a huge deterrent. They don't have mech on Darkseer yet. Their Sand King doesn't have a blink, so they kind of are relying on a bait and switch play, where they make something happen on the map, Ursa gets Roche, and they maybe trade something away, but Butcher in the right position. It's all kind of like the micromanagement of the map. When they went for the bottom tower and traded their tier 1, and unfortunately they lose their darks at the same time, it's like they forfeit control of the Roche pit. If the map's on the other side, it looks a lot different.
OD has actually jumped up to top farm of the game, but thanks to the Hand of Midas he has now. And there's a 4-staff on top of that. That's how. I was like, it feels like that shouldn't be the top net worth, but that's why. So he has the 4-staff now delivered, a eventual Hurricane Pike, of course. So yeah, OD is really becoming a target that, it's a tool like that that's also going to be so good against this Ursa here for, talk about the kiting him, and that's going to help in that case. So smart pickup, it seems like. As Rosta's level 8, by the way, okay, he just got his Hex. I was going to say he doesn't have his Hex yet, but he finally levels it up there. That's the 1 point.
I think this is the standard build. Like, Shackles is just so good early game. And you don't have the mana pool until you have Arcanes to sustain the 4 spells. And here's the YOLO Rush. I think they should be able to get it though. The question is, how much do they lose?
Yeah, Ursa's solo. The Serpent Ward's committed, actually. Juggernaut's porting it as well. Now Ursa's in trouble. The Culling Blade, another nice vacuum off to the ledge, but down goes Ursa. The wall is going to be used for Darkseer, but the Juggernaut with the Omni Slash also spitting a lot of damage out. Ursa staying dead for the time being. They killed Rasta, but not really a big one. The Culling Blade cuts down Dazzle, it looks like, and it gets another onto the Sniper, who did pick up the Aegis from the Roshan kill, but now he's in a horrible spot as Mushi resurrects. Doesn't have any support nearby. He's eventually going to be spun down by the Juggernaut, most likely. He's trying to give the kill to Juggernaut, but okay, yeah, there you go. Be a little careful with that, but they eventually get the kill. And meanwhile, over here, the cut down on a Darkseer from this Axe. Clutch Gaming. Oh boy, they're in a huge lead now after that.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, it's just like this Axe is carrying them. And Mineski are at a point where they feel like their lineup is not in control of the game, so they try for the Roshan attempt. I think if Ursa ults with like his previous overpower, they get it a bit sooner, but he wants to save it for the fight, and then there's this super chaotic situation. And Clutch just have more items, more levels, and the Serpent Wards just, they did a lot of work that fight. Mostly by providing the initial vision. You don't always want to jump blind. Just throwing the ulti in makes it a lot easier. They get the vision, they get the jump.
Yeah, I gotta say, as far as supports go too, I mean, this Dazzle, again, I personally love the hero in general, and that's good purpose, but it feels like he has had very little to no impact this game. I mean, the heal, I'm sure, is doing a little bit in these fights, but obviously the Shallow Grave is completely nullified by the Coaling Blade of Axe, and actually, I guess the Weave is potentially doing work as well, but it seems just overall pretty weak here as far as the impact. Would have probably much rather preferred a crowd control support at this rate, in hindsight for sure, but...
any hero in the game right now.
Yeah.
Almost any hero. It's a problem when Axe is in the pool, and he's such a prominent pick in SCA.
Oh, they're going to try to make a play right here. OD, though, perfect timing with putting his teammate under the Sanity as Eclipse comes out. The nice vacuum wall combo, though, that could be bigger, so trying to capitalize. Gets a kill on a slot out. There's the Shallow Grave going out, putting in the auto attacks on a Juggernaut, but he's put under, and he's eventually going to die after the fact. Meanwhile, Sand a sniper picked off in the background, and now going for more. Axe just continues to do work. He got the kill on Mushi. He's going for the nether on a Dazzle. The Coaling Blade not even necessary, as Gabby gets credit for the kill right there, and momentum just will continue. They lose their both supports, but they're going to go for a tier 2 now, as all the core is staying alive here. Even with the perfect vacuum wall combo, it felt like it just didn't matter.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
They need to combine that with like a Sun King initiate or something, but he already went into the fight. I don't know, it's just like they needed to snowball.
Yeah.
Everything comes down to Clutch getting 1 or 2 really big kills off their Axe. And he turned the game single-handedly. I mean, the team played really well around him, but they just played. And also this Ursa going Blink first and getting nothing done with it. In the, he got it around 9 minutes, 10 minutes? Ever since that point, he has bought a Javelin and a Skull Basher recipe. He has gained about 1,000 net worth, just over. Because he was about 5k net worth at the 10-minute mark when he got his Blink.
And even
sure, the rest of his team's gotten a bit, but yeah, it's just sad. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, and it's to be clear on that, it's not due to lack of effort necessarily. It just really is. Like,
I'm not blaming the player.
Yeah.
It's just like
Clutch is playing it so well.
Yeah, he tried to find stuff, but he got dodged and he got punished for his item decision.
And you also see the build that Sniper's going for, too. You know, we went the Dragonlance and now into the Yasha here. So normally we'd see that Maelstrom, perhaps, but he's going the Yasha into the eventual Manta style, I'm sure. There's the call on Ursa, by the way. And, oh, it's not going to be enough damage, though, initially. Big counterplay coming out with the Sand King Epicenter. And the wall back, that's exactly what they were looking for. And Juggernaut will be picked up in response. Rasta also killed, but OD with that Hurricane Pike will snipe out the Ursa on the end. However, Slaughter's also going to get caught. So a triple kill for Mushi. And ends up finally being a victory for Mineski in a fight right here. With 3 for 1.
That's like the first fight they found where the Sand King was actually set up and the fight started without him going in first. And he gets 3 Hero Burrow Strike on top of an Epi, on top of a back wall. So just about as ideal as Mineski could ask for a fight. And while they do come out on top, it's one of many necessary things for them to get back into the game.
Darkseer, his own Blink Dagger, so he's already had some great vacuum wall combos, and now even more potential to make that happen. Obviously, the Blink on Sand King, huge, as we saw that last fight. Juggernaut, though, after this resurrection here, haven't talked too much about him lately, but he's got the Manta style, and now he's working on his own Diffusal Blade, so going somewhat traditional, you could say, here of the Yasha into Diffusal. A lot of damage output coming out. And that's that Blink also queued up.
The standard Jug build, no real reason to deviate from it.
Oh, it's like they want to go down here. They're going to get scanned out, though.
Yeah, both teams know. And this ward.
No TP for
This is
Ursa,
not the place
however.
Mineski want to fight.
Oh, nice catch from Slaughter. In comes a corrosive haze, and here's the follow-up. The call, Burl Strike coming out, trying to save his teammate if anything, and Rage has popped, and he will continue to run. Meanwhile, in the background, they do get the pick on a Dazzle, and now Ursa, they're just going to continue to pursue and take him out in the end. So, yeah, that started with Slaughter stun, man.
I'll take your tribute.
It started with the vision, like this ward, and the scan as well. Both teams had really good vision around the area, but Mineski are not willing to take like a 5-on-5 that isn't in some way favorable to them, in case of it being under their tier 2 or Clutch being extremely clumped up. And to be honest, I think they're lucky to get out with their 2 losses.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you lose a fight like that, you also are going to lose towers at this stage of the game. So it wasn't just the 2 heroes, it's also your tier 2.
That goes down. Another forest staff in the works. This one for the Slaughter here. Obviously, they already have the Hurricane Pike on OD. They have the forest staff on Axe, as we mentioned. So they just, again, have a lot of these kiting tools here on this Radiant side. That's making it so difficult for Ursa to be absolutely effective this game. Even with the Brutalizer now picked up. So that Blink, though, just about finished for Darkseer. So some positive news there. And the Maelstrom follow-up from Sniper. I mentioned the Yasha that he chose to get there. Now going into the Maelstrom. What do you think of the Yasha decision? Was it necessary, or?
It's just a good item to have. I'm kind of surprised you didn't go Maelstrom, as you said. It's just, I feel like it's a more valuable pickup. But you just have these preferences as a player. Yasha is probably slightly better for farming because you get around the map a bit quicker. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he just changed his mind because they won the fight in the mid lane, and
True.
he probably got a surge of gold there, and he's like, okay, instead of getting this item, I'll get this, and that was probably his main reason for deviating from either the SNY or the Manta.
Oh, the Burrow Strike misses. That's big. Now can they react, though? The Slaughter, he's not going to hit land a crush. Instead, he'll fall back with a Forest Apple that takes a lot of damage in the process. A Raging Potato, he's going in too, but down come the Serpent Wards, and so that should guarantee the Tier 2 tower kill. The Darkseer setting up, going for the big vacuum wall combo. He's going to set up the vacuum, no wall just yet. He gets hexed actually in return. Slaughter will to fall in, but now the Rage popped in. OD going to kite him away, putting him under. Meanwhile, Axe in the background, locking down Mushi after the Shallow Grave comes out on him. They're kiting Ursa. The Ursa tries to get the kill on OD, but the Sanity's Eclipse committed. Now back over here, however, the chase still continues. As Axe now, he's the one that has to run away. The supporting cast for him is not really nearby, but Zerker's call, though, is going to make him so difficult to kill right here. Another Blade Mail coming up. The Assassinate, yeah, he's going to stop with that one. And he will eventually use it in the end, but it's not going to be enough damage. However, Darkseer, he's going to be blocked. He's going to be blocked by his own creep. Another Force Staff comes out, and he actually will not get the kill. Yeah, he kept getting blocked by the creep right there. That's unfortunate.
Poor Mineski. The Axe just zoned 4 heroes, and the rest of his team was all like, he's probably dead. We'll just go back, heal up, get ready to go next fight, and he lives. If they'd have predicted that, they could have turned it. But
Yeah.
still, really good engagement from them overall, getting the tier 2. They don't really lose anything.
A soldier's fortune.
And now
And more
Juggernaut.
control around the Roche area is very. This is like Mineski's big hope. If they can somehow snipe Roshan by making a play on the map, or Clutch just forget it exists for 20 seconds. I don't know. They can hope.
Well, they're in the area, and now they have a blink on a Juggernaut as well, so more way to just follow up and get a decent place to Omni slash off, if anything. So perhaps going to try to rush down that sniper in the background. Is most likely going to be a prime target for the Juggernaut here in the midst of these fights, obviously. So yeah, they got the kite factor taken care of on the Ursa, and now trying to get to the sniper in the backlines is the key. And as we saw Axe do that last fight, unable to get the kill, though, but at least play distraction. He's working on his own Shadow Blade, though. We saw in the first game especially how big the Shadow Blade on the Axe ended up being. I'm sure it's going to be no different here. He's going to be.
It probably isn't going to be as game-winning, though. The Shadow Blade pick literally won them the game with the hero not having buyback. He doesn't really need that item to continue doing what he's been doing. Don't get me wrong, it's nice. The more open the map is, the easier it is for you to get picks with a Shadow Blade.
Huh. Ursa, he sees him coming in. He sees him counter-warding right here. Now Sardark, excuse me, is going to be jumped. As a result, he kills the ward at least. All right, mission accomplished. He's dead for 40, though.
Yeah, and that's actually a really, really big deal because they might know that he doesn't have buyback because he finished his force. We can see he doesn't. and Roche conveniently spawns at that exact time. I don't think they actually need him to stop this happening. They just need to like drop the wards in the pit and zone them out a tiny bit.
There we go. Max going in. The blade mill's up. Ursa in trouble, but the Shadow Crave comes up to the last second. Meanwhile, the wall coming in the background with the epicenter. They will get the kill on the Axe, but the Juggernaut Omni slash bounce between a couple of targets, including the Sniper. And Sniper says Sandy's in the clips will also finish off the Ursa. And now it's run getaway time for Mineski. Dark's here trying to live. Juggernaut running him down, but not going to be able to catch up to him. But Juggernaut and OD staying alive. Again, lose the axe in the roster right there, but not overall too worried. And now they're going to go for the Roshan kill and should be able to get it themselves with Sodar coming back up. So as you mentioned, not needed.
It's too hard for Mineski, man. They got a pick. It was a really relevant pick as well. I suppose you could ask for one of the cores instead, but Slider is also very important to how the fights like go in favor for Clutch every time. And they still can't do it. That being said, they do have good high ground defense, so that this game's by no means over. It's a big hill to climb, sure, but I've seen worse games thrown. But bigger leads.
Well, I mean, they're in that spot now where it's they definitely need mistakes to happen from Clutch gamers. They can't rely just simply on, you know, playing very well themselves. When you're down to almost 20,000 net worth, you're going to need some overcommitment, some out of positions here. So that's what they're going to look to try to capitalize on. And Juggernaut bottom lane. Yeah, no, there's not enough here. I saw a couple of people down here, but Ursa and Darkseer will both actually just run away. Not look for the chance again. Juggernaut also has that Aegis, so something else you have to keep in mind. 3,700 gold saved up, so a butterfly is queued up at least.
Oh, okay. Never mind. The Darkseer dropped his boots to get a TP and Ursa picks them up. What a bro.
Okay. Just in case.
But for Mineski to get back into this game, they really need to like create some chaos on the map. And you generally do that by pushing in lanes. Like multiples at once. And Darkseer and Sniper can do that pretty easily. You just shrapnel or Iron Shell away if it's going to push in naturally. You don't have to show your hero. And they're obviously going to know you're somewhat close, just based on the spell usage. But then Clutch will maybe split. That's their hope. I don't think Clutch actually cares that much though. If they just walk as 5, their game is a lot easier than if they try and worry about any kind of split push. Or...
Exactly, yeah.
And they're at a point where they have an Aegis. If they want to wait for Jug to finish his butterfly, he is 500 or so away. No, sorry, 200. I always think the Eagle Song costs more than it does.
It's going to kill the Aegis off right there. So yeah, it looks like that's exactly what they're waiting for.
And then Aegis will be like 2.5 minutes left, and they're good to go. They don't really have any other major item. Rastor also just got his blink, which is just again another form of initiation.
Oh jeez. See now, yeah, this is where Shadow Shaman really becomes actually pretty damn relevant too. Juggernaut bottom lane. They're gonna catch him first. Actually, nice crush though in response. And Juggernaut has the Aegis worst case. Now the Berserker's call, catch a Sniper in the background. That's not good for the dire side. He does not have a buyback. Juggernaut going around, sending his Eclipse and the calling play to finish it off. The double dunk coming out. The buyback from the Ursa, but it just might be too late as Sniper will not be coming out for another 60 seconds. More buybacks Dazzle, but down goes Pancake. He's staying dead. A triple kill. Rappy continues to be MVP of sorts for this Radiant side, and there's the finish onto Ursa. He basically just gives in right there, and that should all do it. He's gonna get a rampage. Rampage, here we go. Armel! Come on,
he
man.
hits too hard, man. He has 40 in.
Damn it.
And the Axe had no mana to call.
Oh well.
That's just rude.
That is a little rude, but you know, we'll let it slide, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
they're winning Dota. They don't care about rampages.
How dare they? It's only a $100,000 land that they're trying to compete for here. Not a big deal.
Yeah, they should be dropping items in the throne and DMing and stuff.
No, but it's obviously Mineski's hanging in there. It's because again, this is a lot on the line, and this is game 3 anyways. But they're
probably just talking about what went wrong, honestly. Like.
That's possible. Just frustration, if anything. But Slaughter will stop a little bit of the response in the background. They're camping Sniper now at the fountain. They cut him down. as Rasta with that Aegis, or the Aether Lens, excuse me, not the Aegis. The range you see on the shackles right there. Able to lock him down. So now they're doing a little bit of fountain camping of sorts, but of course picking off the racks, trying to get this just a full-on mega creeps, trying to finish the old-fashioned way here of an ancient kill. Is what they're going for. But Clutch Gamers, again, this is a Game 1 victory for Mineski, as there it is official. Clutch Gamers, though, they responded very well. Game 2 was a bit of a back-and-forth battle, but Game 3 really was in their control for the most part. And Axe, again, no doubt one of the star players this third and final game for them.
Once they got past the lanes of like the first 5-6 minutes where they actually were at a bit of a deficit, they made some really good rotations. The Axe got a really solid blink timing, and unlike the Ursa, he got something done with it, and it really set the tempo of the game. And then you saw how easy it was for them to take fights when they just have multiple initiators. Verasta actually felt useful the entire game. Well, everything after the first like 6 minutes. And as you mentioned in the middle, Dazzle didn't. So they were kind of 4v5 when they were down already.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I kind of liked the Dazzle pick against the Spider, but I think they jumped the gun a lot, and it shows now with a bit of hindsight.
It does. And obviously, you got to give all the credit, though, to Clutch Gamers. Like I said, again, Rasta making it work. That's fun to see, and shows that there is potential, perhaps, in certain cases. But great play all around. Again, Rappy on the Axe looking good. But a great team effort. I can see why now, despite not watching much Southeast Asian Dota in general recently, but knowing that this team qualified for the Summit 7 and that kind of standing out, I'm glad I got the chance to now see them for myself and be like, okay, well, they're deserving of that spot, and trying to now get another LAN here. So they are real, and they're going to have a chance in the finals tomorrow against the winner of our next series. Yeah, it's going to be coming up, which we're looking at. What are we looking at? We're looking at Fnatic versus Warriors Gaming Unity here in another best out of 3. So that one should be getting going here shortly, and again, we'll talk about that and jumping into that here when that lobby comes up, which again should be in the very near future. So sit tight, guys. The ZOTAC Cup Masters Southeast Asian qualifiers. I'm Bricky CBK, joined by PQMC. We got Game 1 of our next series coming up shortly.